Imagine a Paris runway in 1985. Among a sea of flowing blonde hair and piercing blue eyes that defined the era's high fashion, a strikingly different silhouette appeared. Sleek, jet-black hair cascading like midnight silk, deep brown eyes that seemed to hold untold stories, and warm, golden skin that instantly commanded the room's attention. Photographers clicked frantically, while top designers leaned forward, unwilling to miss a single moment. She wasn't just another model. She was a direct challenge to the rigid, monotonous beauty standards of the time. In a world where Asian faces were almost invisible on international fashion magazines, she emerged as a living statement, proof that beauty could transcend borders. The story of 90-second supermodels often begins with women who defied conventions, but her journey started long before the spotlight found her. Behind the radiant smile and the graceful walk lay a past filled with struggles, ambition, and a quiet resilience. She would come to know not only the intoxicating glow of the runway, but also the shadows lurking behind it, the dark side of fashion that tested her strength and convictions. Her name was Anna Bayle, the woman who rewrote the definition of supermodel for an entire continent, and this is her story. Anna Bayle was born in 1956 Manila, the bustling capital of the Philippines, a city where neon lights and blaring car horns fought for space in the restless night, yet dreams often remained confined within the harsh walls of reality. She grew up in a middle-class family, neither poor enough to be desperate nor wealthy enough to afford the luxuries of the fashion world. Her parents envisioned a safe and respectable future for her: doctor, lawyer, or teacher professions that promised stability. From an early age, Anna stood out. She had wide, deep-set dark eyes, a refined nose, and a radiant smile that drew attention wherever she went. But in a time when beauty ideals in the Philippines were heavily influenced by Western standards, her warm, golden brown skin and naturally slender frame were often seen as different rather than beautiful. More than once, she overheard the whispers, "She's too thin and too dark. Who would ever want that?" Anna refused to let such prejudice define her. She loved art from a young age, captivated by old films and worn-out fashion magazines she found in second-hand bookstores. In her small bedroom, she would stand before a mirror, imitating the walks of screen sirens, practicing smiles and glances, as if she were already on an invisible runway. Her childhood wasn't all daydreams. She attended a strict Catholic school, where discipline was non-negotiable. The lessons in patience, respect, and hard work were ingrained in her early, but so was a yearning to escape and explore the world beyond. By her teenage years, her tall stature and refined features made her impossible to ignore. While classmates focused on exams and school trips, Anna's mind wandered to foreign runways, camera flashes, and the glamorous life she saw in vogue. Yet in Manila in the 1972nd, the dream of becoming an international model for an Asian woman was as far-fetched as reaching the moon. This tension between the safe life her family wanted and the burning freedom she craved became the quiet flame that would fuel her rise. It was a beginning not unlike many 90-second supermodels, whose journeys started in obscurity, only to collide later with the intoxicating glow and the dark side of fashion that awaited them. Opportunities often arrive when we least expect them. For Anna Bayle, it began with what seemed like a small, almost trivial event, yet it would open a door that would change her life forever. While studying psychology at the University of the Philippines, Anna never considered modeling as a serious career. She focused on her studies, joined extracurricular activities, and occasionally posed for amateur fashion shoots for her university's magazine. But it was one of these casual photo sessions that shifted the course of her future. A well-known fashion photographer in Manila happened to see her pictures. He was captivated by something rare, the way her deep eyes told a story, her sharp yet refined features, and the way she looked into the camera as though piercing through it, directly into the viewer's soul. Soon after, he invited her to audition for a campaign by a luxury fashion brand searching for a fresh face. Anna hesitated. She knew the skepticism society held toward Asian models, especially in an era when Western beauty standards dominated. Her conservative family strongly opposed the idea. Her mother feared the seductive but dangerous pull of the industry, while her father firmly advised, "Focus on your studies. Fashion won't put food on the table." But Anna couldn't ignore the chance. She accepted the invitation, partly out of curiosity, and partly to prove she could do what no one thought possible. On the day of the casting, she walked into a room filled with flawless faces and statuesque figures. Some whispered she was too Asian for the international market. But when Anna stepped onto the runway, everything changed. She didn't try to mimic the style of Western models. Instead, she moved with calm confidence back straight, steps grounded yet elegant, eyes locked with quiet determination. After she finished, the room fell silent for a few moments, before the casting directors exchanged glances. She was chosen for a national campaign in the Philippines, a modest start, but one that made waves. Her appearance in those ads caught the public's attention immediately. The golden tone of her skin, the depth in her gaze, and the strength in her presence broke the mold of the Eurasian faces that had long dominated billboards. Photographers began calling. Designers extended invitations. Then came the biggest break. A talent scout from Europe spotted her in an Asian fashion magazine and invited her to try her luck in Paris, the beating heart of the fashion world. It was the kind of invitation most could only dream of, but it came with immense risk. One misstep, and she would return to Manila empty-handed. Anna stood at a crossroads. To step forward meant leaving everything familiar behind, but deep down, she knew her story was about to join the ranks of future 90-second Supermodels women who would not only see the glitter of the runway, but also confront the unspoken truths and the dark side of fashion that lay beyond the spotlight. Paris, the city of lights, haute couture, and a stage reserved only for the most exceptional. When Anna Bayle arrived there in the early 1982nd, she was virtually unknown. There was no social media, no glamorous PR campaigns, only a small portfolio and an unshakable belief in herself. The early days were anything but easy. Paris castings were far more ruthless than anything she had experienced in Manila. More than once, she was dismissed within seconds for not fitting the look, a look still defined by blonde hair, pale skin, and Eurocentric features. But Anna refused to give up. Each time she entered a room, she told herself, "Make them remember you, even if it's only for a glance." The turning point came when she was invited to walk for one of Paris's most prestigious fashion houses, including Yves Saint Laurent. In the fitting room, she slipped into a black evening gown, the fabric hugging her frame before flowing into a daring slit that revealed her long, toned legs. When she stepped onto the runway under the spotlight, the gown swayed with her stride. The audience seemed hypnotized. No one was thinking about her skin tone or her origin anymore, only about a woman who exuded strength, elegance, and absolute command. From that moment, Anna became one of the most sought-after names in fashion. She graced the runways of Chanel, Christian Dior, Valentino, Givenchy her every step, a declaration that Asian models could dominate the world's most prestigious stages. The press began calling her the First Asian Supermodel. Her face appeared in leading fashion magazines such as Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and Elle in various international editions. She collaborated with legendary photographers like Patrick de Marchelier, who captured images that conveyed the essence of her unique presence, a model who could tell a story with a single glance. What set Anna apart wasn't just her beauty, but the way she transformed a runway into a narrative. She didn't simply showcase clothes, she inhabited them. Her sharp gaze, slightly lifted chin, and confident yet fluid stride became her unmistakable signature. By the mid-1982nd, Anna stood at the peak of her career. She wasn't just a model, she was a cultural icon for millions of Asian women, proving that barriers of race and origin could be shattered. She stood shoulder to shoulder with her Western contemporaries, holding her own in an era that would later define the golden age of 90-second supermodels. But as with many in this elite world, She would eventually come to see that the runway's bright lights often cast the longest shadows, revealing glimpses of the dark side of fashion lurking behind the glamour. At the height of her career, Anna Bayle wasn't just a familiar face on the world's top runways, she was a symbol of breakthrough. But the very difference that made her shine also forced her into battles few could see. In those days, the fashion industry still carried unspoken rules. Asian models were often cast only for exotic roles or reserved for shows with Oriental-inspired themes. Anna refused to accept such limitations. She demanded the right to appear in every kind of collection, from the grandeur of haute couture to the modern edge of pret-à-porter, standing on equal ground with her white counterparts. "I don't want to represent only Asia," she once said. "I want to represent fashion on a global stage." That determination came with a cost. Some offers were lost because she would not compromise her identity. On one occasion, a major brand requested that she lighten her skin with makeup to fit their campaign image. Anna flatly refused, knowing it meant losing the job. To her, preserving her natural beauty was more than a personal choice. It was a statement to young Asian women everywhere: you don't need to erase who you are to be accepted. She also challenged another long-standing industry bias: the lower fees often paid to models from outside Europe and the United States. Anna spoke openly about this inequality in interviews, making some in the business uncomfortable. But her outspokenness gradually forced brands to reconsider their policies, not only for her, but for many Asian models who came after. Behind the scenes, Anna was a mentor and a shield for newcomers, especially those from developing countries. She shared advice, warned them about exploitation, and even confronted managers when she saw others being taken advantage of. These acts earned her not only respect for her craft but admiration for her character. Still, defiance often attracts resistance. Some designers hesitated to work with her, fearing her high standards. A few peers, jealous of her prominence, spread malicious rumors to tarnish her reputation. Yet Anna never backed down. For her, every show, every campaign was a chance to prove that beauty and value know no boundaries of skin color or nationality. By the late 1982, Anna had become a powerful inspiration for the next generation of Asian models, from Japan and Korea to China and Southeast Asia. She stood as living proof that the world of high fashion, even at its most exclusive, could be changed from within. It was a victory worthy of the era that produced the 90s Supermodels, but like many of them, Anna would also face the inevitable confrontation with the dark side of fashion, where fame is fragile and even icons can be pushed aside. By the late 1982, Anna Bayle's name still resonated across the fashion capitals. Yet a quiet shift was unfolding behind the scenes. The industry was entering a new phase. The market's appetite was turning toward younger, fresher faces, the kind that could instantly embody a new decade's vision. Competition became fiercer than ever, and in fashion, the smallest sign of fatigue could be magnified into a verdict: her time is over. Anna was a perfectionist. Her schedule was relentless, shuttling between Paris, Milan, New York, and Tokyo, with only a few days of rest in between. The pressure and constant travel began to take a toll on her health. Persistent headaches, rapid weight loss, and exhaustion became unwelcome companions. But in an industry where admitting weakness could close doors overnight, Anna chose to remain silent, smiling through it all on the runway. Rumors began to circulate. Some fashion publications hinted she was difficult to work with, or prone to canceling shows at the last minute. In truth, many of those withdrawals were due to sheer physical burnout, but explanations rarely changed public perception. To those who once saw her as the unstoppable Asian supermodel, doubt had begun to creep in. Then came another blow. A major advertising campaign she had already signed for was abruptly canceled. The official reason was a change in brand image, but whispers in the backstage world suggested they simply wanted someone younger. It wasn't just a financial loss, it was a wound to her pride. Isolation slowly set in. Backstage parties that once buzzed with warmth became polite but distant gatherings. She was still walking the runway, but the lights no longer felt as warm. By the early 1992nd, Anna began stepping away from the international fashion scene. There was no grand farewell, no headline-making announcement. She simply faded from the catwalks, leaving behind speculation. Was she tired? Was there a scandal? Or had the fashion world simply turned its back? In a rare later interview, Anna said only, "I needed to find myself again, somewhere without flashbulbs and judging eyes." Her quiet retreat mirrored the trajectory of many 90s supermodels who, after conquering the world, discovered that the very stage they had fought to own could just as easily push them into the shadows. Her departure was also a reminder of the dark side of fashion, the unforgiving cycle where trends change overnight, and even icons are not immune to being replaced. And yet, in the industry's collective memory, Anna remained more than a name. She was a trailblazer who had forced the door open for others to walk through. After leaving the runway, Anna Bayle chose a quieter life, far from the flashing cameras that had once been a constant in her world. She spent some time in New York before returning to the Philippines, the place where it had all begun. No longer draped in couture worth tens of thousands of dollars, no longer bound by a relentless show schedule, she embraced slow mornings, treasured moments with family, and the peace of rediscovering herself. Even in retirement, Anna's influence on the fashion industry remained profound. She is remembered as one of the pioneers who broke down racial and ethnic barriers in the world's fashion capitals. Thanks to her, Asian faces from Japan, China, and Korea to Southeast Asia gained greater access to international runways without being confined to outdated stereotypes. Designers who worked with her still recall her professionalism and commanding presence. Anna didn't just wear the clothes, she lived in them, one creative director once remarked. To the public, she stood as proof that a girl from a small country, without wealth or connections, could stand at the very center of the world's grandest stages. Today, when Anna Bayle's name is mentioned, people don't just remember her distinct beauty or her graceful walk. They remember a woman who dared to challenge the rules, a symbol of Asian pride, and a question that still lingers. If Anna began her career today, in a more diverse fashion world, would she soar even higher, or would the new era's own pressures test her all over again? It's a question that reflects the reality of many 90s supermodels, whose triumphs were shadowed by the ever-present dark side of fashion. Whatever the answer, Anna's legacy remains a powerful reminder that beauty has no borders and that rules exist to be rewritten.